7. We call the June 26th meeting to order, and we'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. My eyes back on. All right, we have the minutes for June 12th. Did anybody read them?
I didn't have an opportunity.
Oh,
I was gonna say, I didn't.
They're not ready.
I didn't get those.
okay. So,
I hear
Good
that
thing we
already.
didn't move them, huh? We got that one.
so they're not,
None of us read them.
That was a
they're
test.
not ready, so they're not ready. All right. COC, we'll just do the first, that one. 242-1679, 1920 Great Pond Road, request to continue to July 1st.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. Didn't you say we only have one meeting in July?
Yeah,
Or why does it say July 1st? Oh, it says 17th.
17th.
I can't even read. All right. Next one is NACC number 240, 505 Sutton Street.
all right. The commission had continued this a couple times, waiting for the stormwater inspection to be done, which Moore and Cameron did do, found favorable conditions, and we were waiting for some areas to be reseeded and to revegetate. So that has happened, and now I think we're in good shape, and we can issue a full and complete certificate with ongoing conditions.
Okay. Any questions, Marissa? Jack?
All set.
Cal?
No questions.
No questions.
Motion.
I move that we issue a certificate of compliance for NACC number 240, 505 Sutton Street.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous.
Great, thanks, Alex.
ANRAD for
See you later.
242-1889, 492 Sutton Street.
We've received a request for continuance to the July 17th meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. Get the continuances out of the way. 242-1893, 597 Foster Street, request to continue till July 17th.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. Next one is 242-1891, 70 French Farm Road.
The applicant's representative is going to be a little bit late, so if we could just table it until they get here,
Okay,
that'd be great.
just as long as he's here, we go through this
By
agenda.
8 o'clock.
Okay, next one is 242-1894, 1101 Turnpike Street.
Alrighty. Let's see. I'm wondering. Let me just pull up a plan that makes sense here. Alright, I'll look at the overall plan. Alrighty. Okay. This project involves expanding one of the parking areas at the front easterly side of the facility to contain a total of 79 parking spaces altogether. So currently there's 13, and it'll be expanded to add 66 more. They will be constructing a retaining wall on the southern edge of the parking lot with wooden guardrail at the top. They're proposing a maintained, non-jurisdictional gravel wetland as stormwater treatment for the parking lot that will be pre-trained by 2 catch basins installed in the new parking lot to capture stormwater and conveyed via reinforced concrete pipes to the gravel wetland. Wetland resources include bordering vegetated wetland, land under water body, inland bank, and the 200-foot riverfront area. No new work is proposed within the 25 or the 50. No work is proposed in land under water, bank, or BVW. 81 square feet of the riverfront is currently paved, and that same footprint will be repaved and restriped. 600 square feet of permanent impacts in the 100-foot buffer zone will consist of conversion of lawn to a new parking area. There's some temporary impacts in the buffer of 4,300 square feet, which includes repaving and restriping portions of the existing parking area, minor grading, and the installation of reinforced concrete pipe as part of the stormwater management system. Stormwater management report has been submitted. This project is under review by the planning department under their land disturbance permit as well. There is a lot of earth movement and grading outside the buffer, and I know the commission will probably want to talk about that in terms of materials management and such. Wetland delineation, I've made no adjustments in the field. And Kaylin with VHB, the wetland scientist, is here this evening to answer your questions, and if there's questions that need the engineer's presence, he can convey those to them, but looking for some feedback this evening from the commission, and we've continued to the July 17th meeting to allow for the third-party peer review to progress under the planning board for stormwater.
Thank you. We can't, we're just opening this anyway, so if you have any major things, issues,
No, I don't have any major issues. I would just wait for the peer review.
okay. Jack?
Yeah, it looks like a stormwater management project to me.
Yeah. Al?
No questions at this time.
I haven't got my good glasses with me, so I'm interested in grades. And I know they're on here, but I just can't see them. That's the most important thing, because I want to know the grades that are on here now, are the existing grades or the grades from when the project is finished?
They're on the plan set. There are existing grades, but on the screen you see here in the dark is the proposed grades that will tie into
Okay.
existing.
All right, thank you. Joe?
The resource area here is on the other side of the driveway, or is it?
Yes,
So it's all separated by the main driveway.
yes.
And
Yep.
my recollection is that we've had a couple, if not several, other permits for this
Yes.
particular site. Are they, any of them not closed out?
I need to do more research on that, and I can report
'Cause
back.
I don't remember issuing certificates of compliance for earlier projects.
Yeah, I don't think it's, but I will definitely research that for past
It's gonna
permits.
be their diligence, because we won't move forward on this until they're cleaned up.
Okay. I'll get a list together and,
And the third-party review, that is including stormwater?
That is stormwater.
That is stormwater.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
gonna wait for the rest of it.
all right.
So how long do you think?
Well, the planning board opens their hearing on the 16th of July, which is the day before our next meeting. I think, I'm pretty sure Horsley Witten is already in possession of the application package. I don't know if the planning board will close that night,
Never.
so,
So
but,
I would say the first August meeting would be the best one. Unless you wanted to schedule for the next meeting, but I don't think I've ever seen any applicant go before planning on the first meeting and get through.
Right. Yeah. No, I would defer to your advice on this matter.
I mean, I guess that's a big chunk of time that if the commission did have questions or needed more information, it would be good to kind of get those to them now, because it seems like a long time.
So
for them to
timetable
wait.
is, planning board will hear it for the first time at the coming meeting, but they've already secured third-party review?
Yes.
What do they do, that administratively?
Horsley Witten is on retainer,
So they could simply, they just,
We just,
does it,
we get
got it, so that, so they don't
an
lose any time.
estimate for the applicant. They
Because I
pay
would
it.
have nothing more to offer until I heard something back from Horsey Witten.
Yeah,
So at this point, if you think we're gonna get something next meeting, I suppose we can continue
Yeah.
it until then, but realistically, it probably is that
well,
August
we
meeting.
might, I mean, there's a decent possibility that we could at least get the first round of
Well,
comments.
if you want to come visit us and we have no
I
information, it's
mean,
up to
maybe
you.
we could
Yeah, I'm
just-
happy to come and just see
So
if
let's-
we do get
We'll
feedback.
continue to the first meeting in July,
It's the only meeting in July.
the only meeting in July,
July 17th.
one and only, July 17th. That's my motion to continue.
Okay.
Oh, is there anyone in the public that would like to speak?
Is any of butters here from Mass Electric? No, I don't think so. Okay, so July 17th, that work for you?
Yeah, no, that's
Okay.
super.
So we got a motion and a,
Second?
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous.
Just word of caution, if you feel as though nothing's made any progress document-wise, just confer with Amy and you can.
Oh, sure.
You can put a request to continue in remotely.
Exactly, yeah,
Oh,
save
yeah,
everyone's
you
time.
can email me that, if we're not progressed as much as we think we will be.
Got it. Awesome. Thank you all very much, appreciate it.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, of course.
Thanks for the site visit.
Did I skip one?
Nope, we tabled one.
Did I
That's
give-
when we tabled.
Oh, that's right, that's right. 242-1894, 11, no, that's what we just did, excuse me. 242-1895, 43 Montero Way.
Okay. Alrighty. So this half-acre lot is currently vacant and partially wooded with mowed meadow and contains BBW and buffer zone to an off-site small IVW. The project entails the construction of a new single-family house, associated grading, patio, and appurtenances. No work is proposed in the 25-foot no-disturb zone, and only clearing and grading beyond that, and no structure within the 50. Stockpile is shown on the plan, and dewatering BMP detail is provided as well. I did review the wetland delineation. Patrick Seecamp did do that line. I wasn't with him. I met the landowner to walk the wetland line, and I've asked him to have Pat come back out and look at an area that is landward of wetland flags, A14 and A15. Just saw enough indicators that I'd want a second look at that. So they're securing Pat for a second site visit. Homeowner and surveyor? And Brian's the surveyor here, if you have questions. But that's it in a nutshell.
So it seems like that, after your site visit, after you review the wetland flags, that could affect the limit of work and everything in the disturbance
A
area?
little bit, it could,
Okay.
it could. But I think, yeah, I'm thinking that, I don't think that the house would be, I don't think it would push the house into the 50.
Okay.
But you're right, the limit of work would be a little different. I think they'd have enough breathing room, hopefully.
Yeah, so I guess I don't have any questions until we see that.
Okay, what's the hatched area inside the proposed dwelling?
That's a patio.
That's a patio, okay.
I asked them to put something, because I knew something was gonna go somewhere, a deck or a patio, so figured we'd get it on the plan now.
Yep, good thought. Looks like there's no grading inside the no-build zone, no proposed grading changes.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
we're,
actually,
there's
just on the
minimal
line.
grading on it
Yeah,
for the site. It's
Yeah.
fairly flat. It's,
there is clearing, though, clearing and
yes, this would be
grass.
clearing, but very minimal
Landscaping, yeah.
disturbance for grading wise.
No other questions?
Looks good. I have no questions.
Okay. I can see the construction access. Where is the dewatering plan on this? We haven't
Detail,
got it
it's on the
yet.
detail plan sheet, the BMP. The exact location, we haven't looked, you know,
Okay, I see it.
we haven't identified yet, though. And I assume this is full foundation with a basement.
All right, so it's a dewatering plan, it's not just that the stuff is on site, it's gonna be put in place, right? Amy?
Oh, yeah, so the order of conditions would require that the dewatering BMPs be ready and set up at the pre-construction meeting.
Okay.
So we'll just have to figure out a proper location.
Right. All set for now. Joe?
We actually, I mean, we just figured we'd put it in between where the spoil pile is and the grading, so down where all the
Oh,
proposed
here.
lot area written there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would be
Yeah, that
a
makes
feasible
sense.
spot to
Yep.
put it.
Yep.
Very good.
And I think that if they were to do like walkways out the front of the house, it would all be out of the buffer zone.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Joe?
The driveway's to the furthest east part of this lot,
yeah.
and it's 25 feet wide, and I suspect that you're unloading the garage, you're able to make that turn, no trouble, 25 feet to turn 90 degrees?
Probably minimal, but I can't, it's due to the way the lot is, and Brian and I
Yeah.
talking, it's kind of I'd have to push the house back and it'd be farther into,
And that's the question I'm asking is,
Yeah, that's
is
why we would.
recognize that you're on the property line, and if your answer is to make that maneuverable, is to slide it, it ends up getting closer to the wetland, and that can't happen either.
right, that's why,
So-
yeah. So I think 25 is probably the minimum, I think, that I can do it with. It's kind of at a slight angle too, but I don't know, your thoughts?
It all depends on the vehicle. If you have smaller vehicles, it shouldn't be a problem. If you're using a pickup truck, no. It's gonna be difficult. You're parking in the driveway.
So
With
I
smaller
just-
vehicles, that's not gonna be a problem.
One of our charges in conservation is not to worry about your turning radius to get.
As I was gonna say, it's like,
But I
we
recognize.
could run it through the
But I
turning
recognize
radius
it's gonna be
program.
tight, and don't be tempted to get closer, because you can't. on
No,
our
I know,
end.
yeah, I know, that's why we put it the way we put it, yeah.
Okay, I'm done.
The stockpile area,
Yeah.
so that's located within the 100-foot buffer zone. Did you explore any other areas to put that? And,
We had it originally out front.
okay,
But-
Like right here,
Yeah,
but that's.
because of
We
all
could
the
phase it.
sewer gas.
but with all the conduits going through, I figured I'd keep it out of the way. So then when we did all the trenching, it wouldn't be a problem, and then it would be removed and or graded back out.
The other thing I would suggest is maybe adding silt fence to the erosion control barrier,
yeah.
maybe beefing it up to a 12-inch, just if it's in the 100-foot buffer.
Okay.
What's your recommendation?
So we'll need to continue to the 17th, and I want to try to connect with Pat Seecamp out
Oh,
there
that is
and
right.
look at that area.
Okay, so we need a motion to continue.
Sorry, so one comment
Yeah,
to
go
that.
ahead.
Both of us are away on the 17th, so we'll have to be the meeting.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
so, August 14th? All right, so it would be August 14th.
Okay.
So that gives me and Pat plenty of time to,
Yep.
and then if there's any changes,
Yeah,
okay.
So moved.
that actually works out better. I'll be
Yeah.
gone for most of July, so.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and
And I
that's
didn't
unanimous.
think
Thank
there was
you.
any- I didn't think there was any butters here, so. No, this is good. I'll follow up with an email and we can connect with Pat.
Okay, perfect.
Great,
Appreciate it.
thank
Sounds
you.
good.
All right,
guys.
we'll see you in
Appreciate it.
August.
Thanks.
Enforcement orders. We have one for 85 Colonial request to continue till July 17th.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. And the Abbott Street one, we have the decision to,
Yeah, so you closed the hearing for that notice of intent. And now at this point, the order can take the place of the enforcement order because no work can start until pre-construction requirements are in place, so. So we have a draft decision for that. So I would recommend that you vote to lift the enforcement order for 416 Abbott.
So moved. Second.
But we haven't issued the decision yet, right?
Right.
Want to wait?
Technically, we should do that after we issue the decision.
Okay.
right,
I withdraw
Okay.
the motion.
All right.
because that's not even on, for the NOI, I'm missing it.
It's not even,
under
we let this
decisions.
work move forward just through the.
No, you're
just through
100%
the
right.
enforcement order.
You're 100% right. I would do that motion, withdraw the motion.
Okay. So we don't have to hear 416 Abbott?
When we deliberate
When we're deliberating the
the order conditions,
the decision,
Oh, okay, all right,
we
we
can,
can then lift it.
all right. 49 Equestrian Drive?
All righty. That's Thor Akerly as well. We can go through it, and if we have any follow-up questions for him when he gets here, I suppose we could. So the commission will recall, this is an enforcement order for an unpermitted chicken coop, grading, clearing in the 25 up against the wetland,
Rutland Crossing.
and a crossing to get to the coop with a couple of, oh, there he is. Hi, you can sit down, because we're talking about 49 Equestrian, and then we'll circle back to 70 French Farm. But, so, yeah, so a lot of activity centered around a chicken coop, up against the wetland, crossing with a culvert pipe in an intermittent stream. Commission requested a removal and restoration plan. Thor Akerly provided that and prepared it. Justine and I reviewed it, and we think it's reasonable. We proposed some deadlines for the amended enforcement order, and some monitoring requirements that we usually do, you know, the 2 years after restoration and plantings installed, and then overall survivorship. And I believe you guys are working on an as-built plan?
Yes.
Okay. So I don't know if the commission would even necessarily entertain a COC until we at least get the plants in the ground, or, you know, the removal done and the plants in the ground.
I don't have it. It's just, what's just a narrative?
what is it?
I thought there was a plan, but there isn't. There's not a plan. I don't have one anyway.
Well, it's more of a narrative. It's with your,
Narrative with pictures.
it's a narrative. So they're proposing, you know, using that path that they created to get back and forth for now, and then installing mulch sock, disassembling the chicken coop by hand and removing it entirely, removing the gravel fill within the 100-foot buffer zone in the areas around the chicken coop and along the easterly side of the stream crossing, install a half foot to 1 foot of gravel fill was spread through the area underneath the chicken coop, and that would be removed by a small machine or a bobcat, and by hand where it may have encroached in the BVW. Large rocks and small boulders behind the existing coop would be removed from the 25 and spread throughout the restoration area. Once the gravel fill is removed, the ground surface would be scarified and a New England semi-shade grass and forbs mix spread. Straw would be laid down to incubate that seed. And then the restoration would be planted with a variety of native shrubs, 6 to 8 feet on center. The final location and number of plantings would be determined by the wetland consultant in consultation with staff. And then additional mulch stock placed along the down gradient portion of the intermittent stream channel, the 2 corrugated pipes, fill, and rocks, then removed by hand. And then you do that during the dry season. Existing slopes of the intermittent stream channel will be seeded with New England wet mix and then laid with straw. And then the remaining portion of the pathway to the west of the stream shall then undergo the same procedure for sections 4 through 6 above. And so we just put some deadlines, thinking that maybe getting the chicken coop out of there and the, I don't know whether the restoration area done by the 20th of September. I don't know if is that aggressive or not. And then the culverts by middle of October.
That's last, right? The culvert?
Yeah, that would be.
They worked their way out.
And then having all the removal and restoration activities overseen by the wetland consultant. Making sure the plants and the seed mixes were properly sourced, so we'd see the invoices to make sure they're, native and from, appropriate nurseries. Require 2 years monitoring by the wetland consultant with annual reports. And 75% overall survivorship of shrubs and 90% coverage of the seed mix. Any dead or dying plants would be replaced during that time. It's it's very boilerplate in terms of what we always require when it comes to restoration.
Questions?
Does it include a barrier at the 25-foot of fence or anything?
No, right? No kind of
So
barrier.
it's a weird portion of the property where there's kind of wetlands. It's a small upland, like island,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's wetlands kind of all around it. So it would be like a circle, probably like in the middle of this area where the coop is. So be a little awkward, but there is kind of an edge of lawn, along the existing driveway. It might make sense to put something there, but in the woods where the chicken coop was, I'm not sure it makes a ton of sense in there, to be honest.
Yeah, because it's really kind of in the woods.
Yeah, and there's wetlands behind it, to the side of it.
Yeah, so you're kind of fencing off those areas, yeah.
Could you indicate, Amy, on the plan where
Yeah,
we're talking about?
Yeah, so I have the 8 plan here. So I believe it's approximately by wetland flag D3, D3, D4 area.
Of course, I wasn't on site. Justine visited this site, so I can't really read the flag numbers on my plan.
Okay, so it's it would be the easterly end of the house, where the driveway wraps around.
Okay.
Before you get to the back where the driveway connects to the house.
Okay.
You kind of come out directly east from there. There's.
So is it like here? Or am I
No, it's
cursor?
down.
Down.
Down in right below your cursor, in there.
Okay.
Below that, actually. It's kind of
Okay.
it looks like they delineated the wetlands closest to the house and the driveway and didn't do the other side.
Oh, okay.
Of like the stream.
Okay.
You can see there's something that wraps around and then comes up.
Okay.
So that stream channel that you see kind of runs along wetland flags, D2, D3, D4, D5, D6.
Okay,
I don't know if you can see that, but
okay.
Yeah, it's
I can share this plan if it would be
Well,
helpful.
is there a restoration plan being under development right now?
So respectfully, this is what the commission asked us to do, a narrative, and they said if you weren't satisfied with this, we could do a plan, kind of showing in more detail, at least on a site plan. I know in the past we've done that plenty of times. So this is what we've prepared now, and we'd love it if this was all the commission asked for, but realize you may need more information or to add comfortability to the restoration. But we've done a lot of tricky ones in town, and
Well, we asked you to propose something. We didn't give you a hard direction, did we?
He did. I specifically remember it was I think Mr. Lynch.
I remember.
Yep.
Yeah, so they've got a list of potential species: high bush blueberry, maple leaf viburnum, wild raisin, and sweet pepper bush. And when you place them 6 to 8 feet on center, that kind of precipitates out how many shrubs you can fit in there. And I suppose we could require that to be staked out so that we know how many to buy, or you would advise him on how many to buy.
I probably will.
Yeah,
Probably will.
yeah. So, but if you wanted to see something more visual, pictorially, we can do that, I guess.
What's the source of all the rocks, boulders?
So he's told me that they were scattered around.
They weren't imported, they're indigenous to the site?
Yeah, the general work area that you see in the photos. He told me that he picked them up and put them along the back.
Question. Yeah, it's out by,
It's out Wash Moraine, that's so, Bowles, no, guess, they've been there for a long time.
it's by Olympia.
Olympic,
Yeah, yeah. There's rock,
Yeah, I'd say Elm Street.
there's rock out there. There is rock.
I didn't know if the boulders might be helpful. If we were
Barrier?
using them as a barrier. They're talking about.
We're kind of freestyling this today. We can go back and forth, I suppose.
Yeah.
So what I remembered on this one is that, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's been done out there, but what the original condition was is pretty clearly defined. It doesn't stray too much. You knew what it used to look like.
Yeah.
So by taking the coop out and by working your way out and getting the path of, make it look more naturalized and get the culvert out and keep working your way out.
Yeah.
You can put it back to the way it was, and yeah, there's probably some erosion controls needed in those areas where you're working in the low-lying areas.
Yep.
We thought, I think at the last meeting, that going through all the effort of surveying and getting a plan and designing a plan and putting it on paper was better suited to us mimicking what's out there and getting a plan in place. Not to say that we still need to document it in some fashion. So we did direct them to go
Yeah.
down the enforcement order
Right.
route.
Right.
But what I
mean, perhaps the as-built plan could document.
Well, that's kind of the
what's
catch,
done.
that's kind of the opportunity that we have here that we don't have in others, is they still need to clear up their record
Right,
from an earlier order, so we're going to get a plan
right,
in the end that's going to show all these restoration features
Right.
for the record.
yep.
We're gonna end up getting that plan anyway. We have another one similar to that later on tonight. Actually, we dealt with it at the last meeting. Well, they also needed a as-built plan, so we're fortunate to need one, and we're gonna get one. And that as-built plan is going to show everything, including the original house and all this restoration.
Right,
So that will become a record.
yeah.
What I'm wrestling with is granting all that latitude of doing this all under an enforcement order. Everybody's taken a great leap of faith, and you guys have taken the lead step in jumping. We're letting you fall, knowing you're gonna eventually land. So all of this is predicated upon you actually doing it all and concluding it. So I think, I'm gonna offer this, if this were an NOI, and we were to allow work, we would typically bond it. So what I'm suggesting to my colleagues is that maybe we consider something of the order of $100 a day fine. That's the bond. And when you do all the work and you meet the deadlines, you get it back. We just simply we just rescind the bond. If you don't do it, at least we got them on the hook for something. So I kind of like it's a reverse bond, if you will, but I think that's how we secure performance here. And with their leap of faith, we also kind of give them a cushion to fall back on. So if you don't do it, you're going to lose your money. So I think working out the specificity of what erosion controls are needed where, and what plants selection and density is appropriate. What we said vaguely at the last meeting was, go to the forest, and go to the area adjacent to it and mimic it. Your plant species is just go out and do a survey and inventory census of what's out there and put it on your site and just pull it in tighter, because that's what's going to survive. And I really don't, the applicant's fortunate, not the applicant, but the violator's fortunate in the sense where he's got a lot of good conditions to allow that sort of stuff to happen. We wouldn't normally consider any of that. So that's what I remember from the last meeting. Minus the bond issue that I just raised.
Just came up.
Yeah.
Got it.
What about, how do the dates here work for you, for everybody, that Amy's proposed?
Well, it seems like she's got work scheduled for the dry times and having it completed just before, the fall gets into full swing, which makes sense to me. I don't know if
We're not gonna have a dry time.
Oh, Lord.
We're not gonna have a dry time.
I would have broken up the chicken coop and the restoration as two separate entities and get the chicken coop out soon.
Sooner? Yeah,
Just for discussion, I mean, there's
Yeah.
nothing preventing them from doing that,
that's true.
other than us telling them to.
That's right.
Are you gonna inspect erosion controls before the work
Yes.
starts? Okay.
Yes.
Wanted to confirm that.
So it's
Mr. Chairman, my
So this is July 1, let's say chicken coop August 1st.
We give them time, but I mean, I
And
would-
then
I would-
restoration,
I would
give them 2
suggest
months of
let-
restoration.
Let them go right at it. We
Yeah.
don't wait for the weather.
So you're saying
Oh, yeah, I mean,
back everything up like a month on all her dates?
Nope, I'm saying just require the chicken coop itself be out by August 1st. Keep all the other days, those seem reasonable.
Okay.
okay.
And you
Look at
understand,
deadlines, if they can choose to do it sooner, by all means.
Yeah, oh, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
That's what I'm
that's right,
saying.
we just need it to be done by,
Right now, the water table's not too bad.
yeah.
It's high, but it's on the,
Right.
it's not terrible.
Yeah, it's not going
It's
down.
not prohibitive yet. It could go bad at any time.
Okay. So, Joe, when you're talking about a bond,
No,
Are you
I was
talking
just,
about-
in my mind, I was wrestling with, so how do we secure that this work actually happens? Well, we would typically, on a normal project, bond it, and if they
Right.
don't do things, we can collect on
Right.
that. So what I'm saying in this instance, where it is a violation, I think we should discuss issuing a fine, and I say that in a very friendly way, a fine of $100 per day until such time as the work is complete. Now, these thresholds that we've given, deadlines we've given them, are going to continually to measure their good faith
Yeah.
in moving forward. I would imagine, from my perspective, that if they hit all those deadlines, in the end have something that's fully restored by the deadline, we relax, fine. But as a motivator to get it to go, recognize if they don't move forward timely, don't drag your feet, don't make this last another couple of years, well,
Yeah.
they'll know that the fines are mounting and continue to mount until they're done. And what are we talking? We're talking 3 months here, right?
Yeah.
Maybe 4. So, we're talking about, 1,200, $12,000 potentially in fines.
Yeah.
We would typically probably put up $3,000 to $5,000 bond.
right,
yeah.
So it's not real cash, it's just simply violation. It's a fine that is due if they don't do these things. I think it's a pretty good motivator.
all right, so the only date we're gonna change
So-
is
So
September.
what that translates into staff writing tickets daily?
Do you have to write them daily?
Yes. Yeah, that's what the law says.
every day,
Is it a separate violation?
every day is a
Separate
separate,
ticket?
every day is a separate violation on a separate citation.
It's not like an accounting
No.
check mark on the calendar,
No.
date.
Not when you call it a fine. When you call it a fine, you involve the court, you involve the police department.
Well,
Because the police
in an
department.
in an enforcement action, we have no other mechanism then, so that
Yeah,
doesn't
no, I'm
work.
just saying but that's how it works. Amy issues the initial process. Eventually, you turn the slips over to the police, which they take them to the court.
Yeah, I mean, or they,
Well,
yeah.
hopefully,
And-
I
hopefully
mean-
the applicant doesn't want to pay fines.
No, but I'm just
But
clearing
on,
up.
but on a violation in an enforcement order, we're also bound by the same law of issuing tickets. You can't just simply say right off the bat, let's give them a $3,000 fine,
Yeah,
and then relax it later on. You
Right.
still can't do that, right? Has to be per day.
Not-
We're capped
yeah,
by how much per day
yeah,
Yeah.
we each shoot every day. We have a cap.
yep.
So
We
they're
could-
gonna,
we could- we
they're
could
making a
issue-
leap of faith, and we're going for the ride.
So
And so far, so good.
if you wanna take it easy on the staff, you'd make a leap of faith and don't write the tickets. Because it's a lot of work and it's a lot of bookkeeping. And you're involving the court officer as well. So, just a suggestion, just.
Well, then they don't have to be compliant to it either if you don't do it the right way.
Well, there's nothing to say, if we have a failure of compliance, we can't then come in and start issuing.
I mean, there's multiple violations here, so if they're not honoring the first deadline, then we could start fining, you know, for the multiple things that it's not just, you know, $100.
We could
I mean, we
use-
could fine for the coop and the rocks and the gravel and the, you know, we could really, you know, itemize all of the violations and do a separate fine for
That
each.
wasn't my intent here. My intent was to give them good motivation to get
Right.
this thing
No,
done
I
timely.
agree, I just,
We're telling to move the rocks. Is that part of this?
Some of them.
some of them,
Some of the
some of them
rocks.
are like up against the wetland.
There are some of the rocks, that's why I asked
Yeah.
Thor what the, if they were sourced or if they were indigenous, because some of them have to go. Or be
Or be
rearranged.
redistributed.
That's in the, yeah, it's in there. They
Be
should
rearranged, yeah.
rearrange them around the site as best we can.
Yeah, that was the basis of the question. But Joe, I understand exactly what you're looking to do, I don't think we have the mechanism.
I didn't realize it was a separate ticket every single day.
Every day is its own violation.
Yeah.
Well, and if we
So what are they doing on
find,
the Willows and everywhere else? We've had these long running
We're writing tickets
every single day.
for every day. We have to write a ticket for every day.
if we,
That's
if we initiate fines now, it presumes that, presumes in a way that they won't make the deadlines. If we fine after the violation happens, it's more of a direct, you know, penalty for non-compliance.
which is what a fine should be.
Right.
A fine should be a
Yeah.
penalty for non-compliance.
Could the
Yeah.
fine maybe be defined in the enforcement order to be applied if they don't meet certain deadlines?
Well, that's what
That's what we were just driving at, but it doesn't work
That doesn't work,
Apparently
okay.
it doesn't work that way.
Okay.
So,
News to me.
We've done that.
Well, yeah, I
I
mean,
thought we did.
We've
we
done
can,
that.
if they don't meet that first
so we have
deadline.
we have an enforcement order, Joe, that has some deadlines in it. So if you don't get compliance by the first deadline, we can then move to initiate the fines, and we can make them retroactive back to the date of the enforcement order.
We've done that. I'm trying to think which one we did. So,
Yeah.
but in other words, you have your September 30th, the coop is not removed. Well, if the coop's not removed by September 20th, it reverts back to this meeting. And we can reach.
It just means that Amy was sitting down doing some tickets.
Today to the 20th. Then
Yeah.
the next thing is the 16th. If they don't come to phase 2, we can fine them from that step back.
So the fine should
If
be,
they, you know, what you could do is, you know, if we don't meet the first deadline for removing the coop, we'll issue fines daily for the numerous violations that are out there. So it's not just $100. It's $100 for the coop, it's $100 for the rocks, $100 for the gravel, $100 for the culvert, so that's 400, you know what I'm saying? And then you could say, and those aren't forgivable. We're not gonna reconsider these fines if you don't meet that deadline, so they're running, and,
But we gotta give them a chance to
you know what
comply
I'm saying?
first.
You know, I get it.
I'm beginning to regret even brought it up.
No,
I think it's a valid issue.
No, you're
But
there.
the real, I don't,
You're
The system
it's
is,
taking on a different tone than I wanted. I mean, the
The
reality is
system-
they've
yeah.
done everything we've asked.
the system isn't
We
designed.
hope they
I know.
continue to.
Amy, we've done that before. If something doesn't meet a
Yeah, then we can,
deadline,
then
we
we
go
can,
back from the,
right.
well, I can think of one recent, we just resolved.
Well, we can,
that we-
Exactly what I'm thinking of.
That we went back, well, if you don't get it done by this date, you're gonna get fined up to this date. And then we rescinded the date, they didn't meet that date, we started fining them again.
Understand all that, I totally understand it.
So we can do that.
And
all right, so how about this? So
they have a deadline, let's
we have a
let's
deadline
have
of
them meet the
August
deadline.
1st. That's the first deadline is to get the coop out August 1st.
Meet the deadline, and there's no problem.
Like August 1st.
And then I'll do an update on the August 14th meeting to say, where are we at?
Right,
I like it.
and we can address the fines after that. We can put fines anytime. All right,
Well, you've kind of got those first three deadlines.
Yeah.
The new deadline, coop
For the
removal by
coop.
August 1st. You've got restoration by September
20th, yep.
And then removal of culverts and stream
Yep.
bed bank restoration, October 18th. Those look like three potential finable violations.
Right, if they don't make it.
So you could probably take them one at a time, right?
Right.
See what happens August
Yep.
1st, see what happens
Yep.
September 20th and October 18th.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's like 3 check-in points to make
Right.
sure that we're making progress.
Deadline.
Yeah.
So you,
Bullet points, but, yeah.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
What
That
we've
makes sense
what
to
we've
me.
been learning in the process of issuing fines over the years is it requires a tremendous amount of paperwork and bookkeeping. And then it involves another agency, and then it involves the court at some point.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work, so it's gotta be,
Yeah, so I think this approach is good. Let's do the August 1st check-in, the next one and the next one, and
We can just do this.
so I'll just make sure it gets on the agenda for updates.
Okay.
so what do you need right now? Do you need a,
So you need to move to amend the enforcement order to incorporate everything that we discussed and all of the deadlines and,
so moved, I'm offering that motion.
second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. All right,
And
thank
part of
you.
that was to
Might
adopt,
as well-
to adopt the restoration.
thank you.
And you might as well stay there, we're gonna keep you working, I think, right? You're a French farm?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. 242-1891-70 French farm.
All right.
Is that the one we tabled?
Yes.
It is.
Yep. All righty,
Found
let's
it,
see.
found it under the
My
table.
notes. Oh, there it is, okay. Alrighty, so, the commission will recall that this project proposes demolition of an existing in-ground, swimming pool and associated surrounding concrete patio to construct new in-ground and new patio. The house was built in 1984 and the pool dates back to 1986, both of which predate the local regulations. They're gonna install a slightly smaller in-ground pool in the same hole of the old one. And it will be surrounded by permeable paver patio, keeping some of the existing surrounding river rock, expanding landscaping areas inside the fenced footprint. As mitigation, they are still proposing 640 square feet of planting within the 25-foot no disturb zone, which is about a 3-to-1 ratio. Based on your feedback at the last meeting, the rain garden was eliminated and replaced with a 3x6 riprap apron with 6-inch stone for the pump outlet spreader. You also asked for additional information on the sump pump. and you did get a spec sheet in your packets for that. And it says the sump will run when the groundwater exceeds elevation 86.5. The O&M plan has been revised to eliminate the rain garden and include the riprap apron, and that is in your packets as well. They're proposing wooden 4x4 posts along the 25 and at the edge of lawn where, you know, there's historic lawn. So Thor's here if you have any other questions for him.
Is there filter fabric under the riprap?
It doesn't look like that was included on the detail,
Okay.
but we can include that if you would like.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I mean, I don't think it's gonna stop anything, but, that will just help it not get clogged over
Yeah,
time.
help not disturb the ground
Yeah.
a little bit too.
Okay. This restoration area, that, I love the size and everything, it's gonna be pretty wet, maybe. This pump discharge is going right into it, so hopefully we've got some plants in there that like to get their feet wet, in that area, as it looks like they've been selected already, D, E, and F, so.
We do, we have arrowwood, speckled alder, and silky dogwood. All of those are wetland indicator species, or, well, they're all wetland indicator species. Some like water a little more than others, but,
Fac wet,
or
minimum.
I believe the dogwood is fact wet.
Yeah, yeah, and you guys are fine on that. 45 gallons a minute on the pump. I agree with your spot there, on the pump curve, but we're talking, I don't have an issue with it, it's just a comment. Groundwater is 45 gallons a minute, I mean, is it gonna keep up?
In terms of, like, will groundwater be able to absorb it?
No,
Or will the ground be able to absorb it?
The pump's gonna come on when the water elevation reaches what, 86.4 or 86.5 feet. Is 45 gallons a minute enough to maintain it or not make it overflow? I guess it's a question because I don't know how you rate groundwater in terms of water volume. Depending on, 86. where
That's
86
pretty good
is.
volume, though. That's a lot of volume in that pump. I gotta be honest with you.
So-
That's
You
not,
basically
that's
built-
not a small pump. That thing's cranking.
Yeah, it's more than like you see from like a garden hose,
It's substantially more.
Yeah.
Substantially more, yeah, right.
probably
least-
double or so. You know, and I agree with your point, you know, will it keep up with groundwater, will it actually provide the benefit they're seeking? I think part of it is a peace of mind, and you know, this pool's been there for 40 years, and they've never had the uplift issue with it, right?
Yeah,
It hasn't popped out of the ground, and there's no, you know, it was built in the 80s, there wasn't any, you know, hydrostatic relief valves in it.
Yeah.
You know, we struggled with it too, because it feels a little weird to us too, like, to do this. Like, I wouldn't want this in my backyard, but the installer really wants something in place in case groundwater does get really high. You know, but in reality, how much benefit will it provide is a question that, you know, we're frankly struggling with a little bit, because I don't really ever see groundwater getting to elevation 89. Like, for example, like roughly to the top of the pool or the water elevation. You know, the wetlands at 86 and a half.
Based on historic conditions, I would tend to agree with you.
And I know it's wet out there. but
Sorry
it's-
for the tangent, I just, and I don't think it has wetland impacts, honestly. But, that's all I have.
Okay, yeah.
Not good.
You have the pump on the, underneath the concrete pad? Is there gonna be like an observation, an access to the pump?
Yeah, they'll have a, in the letter, they'll have a little.
yeah, I didn't
It's
read
okay,
that.
yeah, they'll have a little cover over it, so they can get in there and probably be like pavers that they can remove from the patio and go in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the apron you feel is big enough? The riprap apron down the bottom?
One of the professional engineer that signed it said it was. I'm not qualified personally to tell you, but
Okay,
yeah.
3 by 6.
Well, they get a larger area to the, at the bottom for patio furniture and stuff like that, so. we just need to-
I'm all set.
The conversation I'm hearing tonight was the same one I raised at the last meeting, so I don't need to get into it again, I suppose. What I'm hearing is, we're doing this because it gives us peace of mind. We don't know how much it's gonna work. I only have to concern myself with this 45 gallons a minute to a level spreader with riprap outside of the buffer zone. Is that gonna cause an impact? And I guess the answer is,
What's in the buffer
no,
zone?
probably not. But I think it's a terrible waste of money. I wouldn't do any of this. And, that's it, I'm done.
They want a pool.
Yeah.
They want a pool, they're going the extra yard,
Well, it's better than nothing, I guess.
but I mean,
Maybe it lasts a little bit longer than,
All right,
I don't know.
no more
Anyway,
questions?
who knows?
I don't know.
Yeah.
You have a motion?
Yeah, I think they've done all we've asked them to do, so I would move to close 242-1891 70 French Farm Road and issue a decision within 21 days.
second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you all.
And I do have a draft decision for tonight, so we're all set.
Oh, you already have it?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank
Sorry,
you.
There it is.
I'm looking right at it.
There it is, Lou.
Yeah. All right, next one is enforcement order 60-70 Autran Ave.
Alrighty. All
You
right,
can
so-
you can either stand up or have a seat, whichever you want.
Okay, so the commission recalled that this enforcement order was in response to some yard waste dumping and other debris behind the fence along the stream that is running between Autran Ave and Heritage Green. It took a little circuitous route to find the owner and make sure that he was aware of the problem. Both units at 68 and 70 are actually rented, so it's not owner occupied. So we were able to catch up with Ermal, one of the owners.
The other one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I thought you, okay. So basically, we were able to connect, got on the phone, explained the situation. That next weekend, the violation was totally cleaned up. Justine went out there, verified, looks great. So the commission felt that they needed to issue a $100 a day fine to get action on it, because it was kind of lingering. So currently, the fine tickets total $2,300. It was a little bit of a delay in the owner finding out about it because mail went to the wrong place. And we had to, search for mailing address for the ownership, so.
Did the mail
But-
go to 68 Autran Ave?
It went to 68 Autran and it kind of
That's
sat there.
It's-
Sat there with the.
I literally just-
It went to the
I got it.
tenants, and the tenants didn't provide the landlord with the information. It's not unusual.
Used to it.
So,
It's all straightened out?
I mean, it looks beautiful out there, so, of course, I don't have the authority to rescind fines, but I encourage them to show up tonight and, address you if they had questions or discuss, the potential of rescinding the fines, considering
Wanna go down the board, or-
the problem
Yeah.
of getting in touch with everybody.
What do you think, Marissa?
Yeah, I don't have any questions. I'm glad it was cleaned up so quickly.
Do we know who did the dumping?
That's what I was gonna ask.
That's my
The tenants.
Was it the, it was the
The
tenant?
tenant.
The tenants did it.
So it was one of the tenants who didn't give you the correspondence from the town. I don't think this guy's done anything wrong.
No.
I'm in agreement. I think that you need to put the smackdown on your tenants.
Oh, I did.
Add a paragraph to the lease agreement that,
He was the one who took care of the whole.
but you know what I'm talking about. You know how to do it.
Yeah.
I'm all set. I have no problem, Mr. Chairman, with
Yeah, I didn't.
vacating the fines.
Mr. Lynch and myself want to ask the same question, who did it? And it was your tenant, so I can't penalize this guy, it's not his fault.
Well, what I like is, once he became aware of it, it was
It
cleaned
got
up.
done,
It
like,
got done.
yes,
He didn't drag his
immediately. It
feet,
wasn't-
and he didn't tell,
Yep.
tell Amy a story. He got it fixed. I admire that.
Okay,
Yep.
I don't have any questions, I'm all set.
No questions.
All right, so we're gonna recess,
I'll move that we rescind the fine tickets of $2,300.
Second.
all those in favor say aye?
Aye.
Opposed, that's it, we're all set.
Thank you,
Do
Joe.
you,
All right,
hold
thank
on,
you
do you
for
want
coming.
hold on one second, do you want the vacate, do we close?
Yeah,
the-
vacate the enforcement order as
So
well.
I'll move that,
Yeah.
the order be vacated.
Second.
All those in favor say aye?
Aye.
Opposed, that's unanimous.
Great, so we're all set. Okay, thank you.
Remind your neighbor not to do anything. You might not get so lucky the next time,
There's nothing worse than a bad tenant, nothing worse.
especially
Yeah,
Massachusetts.
There's nothing worse. I could give you a list of 12 things.
thanks.
The bad tenant would be the first one.
All right,
All right,
decision,
so we have two decisions, 416 Abbott and 70 French Farm.
okay, so we'll do the first one, 242-1885, 416 Abbott Street.
So, there was a lot of back and forth about, mitigation for allowing some of the patio to remain in the 50. Significant restoration of the 25. So, just included language that the commission, would agree to grant the waiver, considering they responded to your request for additional restoration and moving the fence and such. The bond, I think, may be a little steep. The applicants are, the money's tight, budget concerns, so maybe we could just do our regular 2,000 instead?
Are there any waivers required or requested?
Yeah, yes.
Yes. 50-foot,
But preemptively, those items already exist.
yeah.
The waiver is to allow them to continue to exist. So it's not like we're providing additional
Well-
impacts because of the waivers. They've already made those impacts, right?
Let me rephrase the question. When we closed, when this was open and when we closed it, did we vote in favor of the waiver?
We did.
So we did, so we authorized the waiver?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, we
okay,
did.
all right.
Yes.
That was what I was trying to.
We did.
Yes,
All set, I don't need to know.
I think the bond addresses the restoration area, really, right?
yeah,
More than anything.
it really does.
They've got removal of that patio, but
Right.
that's not much, and it's mostly just the restoration area, so is $2,000 gonna
So if
cover
we had,
that?
if we had to do that, Jack, could we do it for $2,000?
What do plants cost? I mean, I don't know what these plants cost.
Depends where you're buying.
You know,
Depends where you get them.
$3,000 doesn't go anywhere anymore. I mean, really,
Yeah, but we also don't want to be punitive.
it's not
Right,
punitive.
I mean, they,
You,
they have been
in any type of
responsive.
construction at all,
They were
$1,000 is like just say
clueless.
hello.
Is that's a restoration area, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
this, yep.
So as
All
they
the
make,
all the things with the dots.
as they make progress in the restoration installation, they can always come back and request a partial bond release. We've been known to entertain requests for partials in the past,
Okay,
provided that there's progress made.
okay.
It's just an idea, just a
Yeah,
thought.
that is a good idea, because then we would usually, historically, reduce it to half.
Well, then at least you have something you can point to and say, progress has been made. I don't know, just an idea, I'm putting it out there.
I agree with Lou. I think we should start with 3,000.
Yeah, I mean, the bond is the bond, I
Okay.
mean, and as quote one of my fellow commissioners, money
Equals
equals
compliance.
compliance.
If I have your money, you will comply. Money equals comply. That's right. History's taught us that is true.
Yeah,
You
So
don't even
sh-
have to know how to
I
count.
think that's the
no.
So should I add some language that, you know, the commission would consider a partial release
Never
No.
put that in, they're entitled to that.
anyway?
Yeah, we don't-
Let them figure that out.
We don't,
All right,
we don't put that in any,
Yeah.
okay,
No,
all right,
they can come and make that request
okay,
anytime.
all right. All righty,
It's okay if you represent that when you're having a meeting,
okay. Okay,
pre-construction.
yep,
but make sure when you do explain to them, it's not etched in stone.
yep.
They put one spade and shovel and run, say, okay, can I have one?
No,
section?"
no, I know what you mean, yep.
Totally
Needs-
understood.
Needs to be,
All right, any more questions?
I just like condition 70. I like
Which
that
one?
one. That's a good one.
Which one?
70.
70?
I think
Oh,
it's
yeah.
good as is, but
Yeah.
it should be in there for
Yep, for
addressing
perpetuity.
restoration.
Yep.
Good, that's a good condition, I also,
Yeah, that's-
I move that we issue 242-1885 as amended.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that's unanimous. Next one is 242-1891, 70 French Farm.
Mr. Chairman, you may, the one we just issued,
Yep.
there's an enforcement order that needs to be,
Oh, shoot,
Oh, yeah,
thank
that's right.
you, thank you.
we have to
Al.
vacate, I move that we vacate the enforcement order.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that's unanimous.
Did that one have any fines associated
No.
with it? It did not, so you do.
No.
Yep.
Good catch. Al.
Okay, back to decisions.
Running on the fly. Color coded.
So I had a question on page 2 for you in blue.
I see it, I see your question.
It's up to you, we can still require the plantings if you want.
Did they offer it? They offered it, so we're not making
Yeah,
it.
I mean, do we
No.
need the regulations to do that?
What's,
No, I'm just saying,
is there any
it's
downside?
not like, I mean, these are grandfathered structures and they're working within the same footprint.
They could have maintained that
And they're-
position and said, I don't want to do it, but they didn't, they offered it.
Yeah, they
I'd
did.
say leave it alone,
Leave it
accept the
alone.
gracious offer.
Leave it
Okay.
alone and say thank you.
Volunteers.
Okay. Thanks. Just wanted to be sure.
I like 49, Amy, I'm glad we should be putting that in more often. With the dewatering.
Yeah.
The Lou condition.
I think when water breaks, what happens?
Chaos.
Easy now.
I see what happens when people get the water table.
Oh, you're talking about water tables.
Yeah. You can remember that far back?
I remember better old than new. My long term is fine, my short term, Don't even know what you just said.
That's true.
Is the bond okay?
Right.
3K? In your opinion?
Same as,
There's really no new excavation here, it's pool coming out,
Yeah, I
pool
know.
going
smaller.
in. Yeah.
You can just add the filter fabric under the riprap.
Oh, yes, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Put
Good
that as
detail.
a pre-construction. Yep.
Slow readers. And there's no pictures.
I know. That's okay.
All set?
I move that we approve 2421891.
Second.
All
As
those in favor,
amended?
say
As
aye.
amended.
As amended.
As amended.
All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, and that's unanimous. Motion to adjourn?
Wait, let me ask, was there any enforcement order on that one? Or
No.
that was just straight file?
That was, no, that was just straight,
So we don't have any EOs left over that want to be closed?
no.
No.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, and that's unanimous.